Nanobanana and Seedream 4.0, the latest strides in image generations have unlocked UGC ads at scale with the power of AI, and you can create it for any product
Hey everyone, Red Bull gives me the energy to drive change.
or any location
This amazing third wave coffee shop has just opened in Whitefield.
or any character
I eat top ramen masala flavor every day.
in any language
이 라면을 아침, 점심, 저녁 내내 먹어요.
across time zones.
Everything else has faded away, but the whole truth protein bar has survived.
And if you don't know, brands are creating ads in thousands and UGC ads consistently stand out. And if you don't know what a UGC ad is, it's basically when a customer talks about the features and benefits of using a product or a service in a very natural and relatable way, and they perform extremely well because they drive trust, engagement through social media marketing. In this video, I'll show you how to build a system that can generate UGC ads at scale for less than half a dollar and under 5 minutes. And I'll use n8n. And if you're not aware, n8n is a no-code automation platform that is making all this possible, and the demand for it is going absolutely bonkers, as you can see. For those of you who are new here, my name is Vaibhav and I have been experimenting a lot with n8n and I have been sharing my learnings with all of you, and I also run my own school community where hundreds of practitioners come and discuss their strategies, what they are doing and their struggles, and we learn together. So if you're interested, go check that out, link is in the description. And if you like this kind of content, make sure to subscribe, hit the like button and share it with a friend who wants to create marketing ads or automate their existing workflow. Let's talk about what we are going to be covering today. So we'll start with the tools that I'm going to use. Then I'll talk about the system structure that I have in mind. Then I'll build it live step by step with you. Then I'll talk about the optimization and improvement opportunities that you can do for your use case. And then I'll talk about the cost structure of it for creating every video. And towards the end, I'll also show you how you can do this manually, although that's very unstructured, makes more mistakes, and I would not recommend it. For the tools needed, we are going to use n8n, the no-code open source AI automation platform, which is going very popular because of how easy it is to use and set up. And then we'll use OpenAI's API to better understand our inputs and refine the prompts for the video generation. Then we'll use Kai API, which is basically a marketplace for image, video, and audio generation models all in one place, and it has more than 200 models. And then we will use Google Drive to store our inputs, outputs, and then Google Sheets to run the system. Let's talk about the system structure for our UGC agent very quickly. So for the inputs, we will have a starting scene, which is the reference image, and we will have a script idea, and then we will have an aspect ratio in our mind. Then we'll analyze these inputs, go to a prompt refinement or prompt generator agent that will take the inputs and then create a solid video generation prompt. And then there will be human adjustment to see if there needs to be any changes. Then we will do a video generation and then we'll download and store this. So without any delay, let's start the build. And for that, you will go to n8n.io and then sign in on the system. Once you fill up the sign up form, this is the screen you will get. You won't get these workflows and folders because these are my files. You're going to go on the top right, click on create workflow, and this is the blank canvas that will open. For the first step, we are going to click on this plus button, and then we have a list of different triggers as to how should this system start running. So I'm going to search for form, and then I will get this on new form event trigger. This is basically like a Google form, and here you will record all the inputs that you want from your user. And just for your reference, left side is where you get inputs in any step, the middle is the configuration of that step, and the right side is the output. And since this is the first step, there are no inputs, and that's what we will define. So for the form title, I'll say UGC form, and same I will rename the inputs. Then I'm going to go and click on add form element, and then I'm going to write start scene. This is going to be a file, so I'm going to select this one, and then I'll remove this multiple files because I just want one, and then required field will be this. I'll again go and add a form element and I'll call it script idea, and then I'll make it to text area. That is basically means a long paragraph so that you can write it properly. And then for the placeholder, I'm going to say what should be the script of characters so as the user can also get some idea of what it's going to be. The next part is adding the form element aspect ratio, and it is going to be a drop down. So I will select this option, and then there are two options, either 16:9 And I'll add another field option and say 9 is to 16, and again this will be a required field as well. And there you have it, your UGC form is created now. Let's test this step, and for that we'll click on execute workflow. And then as you can see, the form is here with the start scene, script idea and aspect ratio. For the file, I'm going to select this ramen Naruto image and I'll just write the script idea. So for the script, I'm just saying Naruto talks about how this top ramen masala flavor has made him grow in strength and get better than Sasuke, and it's just an anime reference. And then for the aspect ratio, I'm selecting 9 by 16 because that's what my image is, and I'm going to click on submit. And as you can see, the form is now submitted, and I can come back here and see the outputs. So for the binary, which is the file, we have the image that we can see here, and then for the schema we have some information on the file name, and then script idea, aspect ratio, the time and the form mode. And now we are going to build every node step by step like this itself. For the next step, I'm going to upload the file, so I'm going to search for Google Drive and then search for upload file. And as you can see here, we need to configure this node. And for the credentials, I have linked a quick video on the top right. Resource is file, operation is upload. For the data field name, I'm going to take this start scene and then paste it here. For the file name, what you can do is go to schema and then take this file name and drag it here. Now it comes as ramennaruto.jpg, which was the original file name. Didn't want this exact file name, so what I did is I switched it up very quickly. So first part is ramen Naruto, so I'm just removing the .jpg part. And don't worry, I didn't write this JSON notation. I asked ChatGPT to do it, and then I wrote underscore start scene so that I know what this file's name is. And then you tell it where to save it, so it's going to save in my drive, and which folder to save it. So I'm going to use the one I have created for this purpose, and as you can see, start scene. And the last step, I'll quickly rename this to upload start scene so that I know what this node is doing. And let me just play this so that I know how this is working and if there is any error. And as you can see, this executed successfully, and we have a lot of data like ID of this file, name, type, then some links, and there's a lot of information that Google Drive gives you when you upload an image. For the next step, we are going to analyze the image. So I'm going to search for OpenAI and then I'm going to click on analyze image. The idea is that we want to give the image in a way that the LLM or our model can understand, and we want to convert it into a text input. So that's why we have used this. And for the credential, I've linked a quick 2-minute video at the top right. We'll keep resource and operation as same. And for the model, I'm going to select 4o and then text input. So this is basically the prompt, and I'm going to expand this and then paste a very standard analyze image prompt that I have developed using ChatGPT, and it follows the agent framework. A is for ask, G is for guide, and then E is for example, and then N is for narrow, and T is for test. And then in terms of input type, we have image URL, and what we are going to do is we are going to drag this web content link that you see here, and then we are going to paste this here so that it has the file. And then lastly, we will change the name to analyze start scene, and this node is now configured. I'll just play this button so that I will test it out. This is now run properly. So as you can see here, we have the content and it's in JSON format, and you don't need to worry about it because that's going to go into the LLM directly into our AI agent. So next step is clicking on this plus button and searching for AI agent. I'll select this one, and as you can see, it says user message connected chat trigger node. Since we don't have that, we'll say define below, and we'll define our own custom user message. So for the user message, I want to get the script idea and start scene analysis. So how I'm going to do it is come to the left side and open this UGC forms nodes. And then as you see, the script idea is here. I'll just drag and drop this here. And then for the start scene analysis, I will use this output from the last node and I'll drag it here. And as you can see, once you put it in this format, on the right side, it says images, objects, and gives a very detailed, accurate description, like what are the dimensions, where are the positions, by accurate numbers. And these are basically dynamic fields so that we can create the system and run it as we want, so that when the image changes, the idea and the analysis also changes. The next part is telling the system how it should act. So for that, I'm going to click on this add option and then click on system message. And again, I'll convert this into expression and expand it. And I'm going to write my system generation prompt. Basically, this is saying role, overview, what should be the output, instructions and nodes, and then schema with example how it should run. And again, you don't need to write this all by yourself. You can tell the context to ChatGPT and take it from there. And obviously, this will all be available in my free school community. So if you join there, you can get all the templates and the prompts there. Next, let me just rename this system so I know what is happening. And then I'll come to this chart model and click on this plus button, and then I'll search for OpenAI again. I'll select OpenAI. As you can see, the credential we already talked about how to connect, and then for the model I'm going to search for GPT-4o and I'm going to select this one and I'm going to rename it as 4o so that I have reference of what this model is. And then I'm going to add a tool here. So basically I'm going to search for think tool. Basically invite the AI agent to do some thinking. This is a feature from n8n which is generally very useful if you have any complex task or heavy memory task. So that this is there. I'll leave the prompt and description as it is, and then I'll click on tidy up so that it's structured now, and then I'll play this and then come back once we have a video script. Our video script is ready, and as you can see we have it in entirety in a JSON format so that the prompt is defined step by step. Next, we will record it in all in Google Sheets. So I'll click on this plus button and then I'll click on Google Sheets. And then I will search for append row in sheet, which is basically add a row in sheet. Now credentials I already talked about, it's very same to Google Drive. And then resource I'm going to keep the same, operation is going to append row. For the document, I'm going to select the one which I have created for this, which is this UGC agent. And then from the sheet I only have one, so I'm going to select that. And as you can see, how should I map the columns? So this is telling me that these are the values that you need and which ones do you want to send and how do you want to send them. So final video we don't have it, so I'll just remove it. For script idea, I'll take the form and then drag the script idea just like I did earlier. Then scene start image, so I'm going to map this Excel function. So basically if you look at this, this is an Excel function and I just need to add the ID of the image, and I'm going to go grab this ID from the upload drive node and then put it here. And as you can see, this has become this function, and when you come into Excel you will see the image is coming like this. For the status, I'm going to write video script created so I know it is done. For the aspect ratio, I'm going to take it from the left side from the UGC form, and the video prompt will be the output of the last node. And you can see this here, it's coming like this and it's very properly defined. Voice tone, add format, timeline, scene, subjects, and everything is there. And then we need to give it a start scene ID, URL, and analysis. That is basically just to store. So for the start scene ID, I'm going to drag this here, and this is going to be my unique identifier that I'm going to use later on. For the start scene URL, I'm going to use Google Drive. Scroll down and then take this web view link. And for start scene analysis, I'm going to go on analyze start scene image and then drag this here so that I have a record of everything. And lastly, I will change the name to update scene so I am aware of what is happening. And then let me just zoom this, and this is done. And let me just play this button so you know what's happening. Let's just come back to Google Sheets and see what's happening. So you see here, these are my past examples that I ran on, and then this is the one that we want to create right now. And as you can see, we have the idea, the image, the status, which you can change from drop down, created, approved, video error, then aspect ratio, the prompt, and this is for logging. Now basically what you can do is open this video prompt, and as you can see, it's in a very properly formatted way. So you can come here and actually change whatever you want, right? You have the overall style, camera lens, color grade, then your soundtrack, then every timeline is here, and then you can scroll down, and for each time frame you have everything: scene, subject, action, camera, and so on, so that you define it very properly and give concise instructions to the video generation model. Now, once you have looked at this and once you have approved this, you'll come here and then change the status to video script approved. And then come back to n8n and then we will see how should the next steps look like. Now I am breaking the workflow because I want a human to actually look at the script and the video prompt that is being generated, and then and only then generate the video because it is costly and it takes some errors. So what I'm going to do next is click on this plus button and then search for manual trigger. This is basically telling me that once I click this system I can run this particular workflow, and now I need to get the Google Sheets file because now I've broken the chain. So I'm going to click on this plus button, I'm going to click on Google Sheets and then search for get rows in sheet. And again, credential are going to remain the same, resource and operation remain the same. For the document, I'm going to search for the one which I have created, which is this UGC agent, and the sheet, which is one sheet only. Now I need to tell whether I want to filter or not. So I'm going to click on add filter. And the idea is that I only want the ones whose video script is approved. And lastly, I'll change the name to get video scenes. Now let me just play this and see how it is working. Let's see the output, and as you can see we have the script idea, we have the status, aspect ratio and everything that we need in this setup. Next step is creating the video, and I'm going to use a sub workflow. So basically I'm going to create a new module which is basically generates a video whenever we want, and so that I can use it later on in my other workflows. I'll show you how this module is working, and for that let me just get one of my past executions. Now as you can see this is saying execution data import. Now as you can see I have one of my past runs, so let's start with the trigger. So basically this trigger is getting from this plus button, and you can search for workflow and execute sub workflow, and that is what this trigger is. I gave it three inputs: the prompt, the start scene ID, which is where we have stored, and the aspect ratio. These are the three inputs I gave it. And then I come here and I configure an HTTP request node. This is basically an integration with Kai AI, and what we saw Google Drive and Google Sheets were integrations done by n8n, but here it is not done and we will need to do this through an API request. And let me just quickly show you how you can do it. So you come to AI video API, click on VO3 API, and once it's loaded you go into the API documentation, and as you can see on the left side we have the post request for generate VO3 AI video, and you can see it is giving all the details as you want in plain English. You don't need to do anything, and a very quick shortcut is getting this curl command. So you just copy this, come back to your system and then click on import curl, paste this and import, and then you get a basic to start with. Now what I've done is modified it basis our own needs, and I've not used any code. So for the URL it is going to remain the same. For authentication, I'm going to select on general credential type. I'll search for header auth, and as you can see the authorization is called header here, and then come back. I'll select the header auth, and for this I'm going to click on create new credential, and then for the name I'm going to paste this. Now I need to give it a value. So value, as you can see, is this value, bearer slash token. So you can select this, come back and then paste this, and just to show you what it looks like, it is like this. Now you need to get your own token, so let me just quickly show you how you can do that as well. You come back to Kai AI and then go on your dashboard, and then as you can see here, API key, you search for this and you can copy this key, create your new key, and then come back to the system and then paste it here instead of this token, and then you click on save and it works as you want. Just make sure to change the name so that you can refer it later on. Now you will see a send headers piece for authorization. Just remove that so you can use this multiple times as you want. And for the JSON or for the main body, this is the most important piece. So as you can see, we need prompt, image URLs, the model and aspect ratio. Now for model, what I've done is basically drag this json.prompt and then pasted it here, and as you can see here, when it is coming like this, it is coming in this particular format. And what this requires is basically a inverted quotes at the start and end. So what I've done is use json.stringify at the top, so that what happens is we have an inverted quote here at the start, and towards the end of this we have there, and if we don't have that, this might break. For the image URLs, I've given it a Google Drive link. So basically this is the common part, and then I have added the start scene ID. That's all I have done. Model, I'm using VO3 fast. I don't want to use VO3 quality, it's 4 times costlier. So let's just use this, and this is good for practice, and once you are really good, you can change this to VO3 quality. Now I'm going to select this back to VO3 fast, and then for the aspect ratio, I've used the same json.stringify and drag this here. This is the most important step, and now I've renamed this to create video, and as you can see, I get a code, I get a message, and I get a task ID. Next, I basically come here, click on search, and added a wait node. This is wait before continuing with execution. This is just a timer, and I was made 60 seconds because I know it takes around 1 to 2 minutes minimum to make any video. Next, I have a check status node, and as you can see, again I have gone to the API documentation, and you see on the left, get VO3 video details. And then I have the curl command here. I need this URL. I can just copy this and then come back into n8n and then paste it here. This is how you get the URL. Credential, I'm going to use the same Kai, and then you see I've added a query parameters. So if I come back to this documentation, you see it says you need authorization, which we have already given, and you need query parameters, which is the task ID, so that it can refer which step we are referring to, so that it can refer which request we are talking about. I just clicked on task ID and then just drag this task ID from here to here. Now the next step, as you see here, is basically determining whether the status is there or not, and you see here success flag, right? This is the key important one. Now what I've done is added a switch node. This is kind of like an if node with multiple conditions. So what I'm saying is, if success flag is equal to 1, it is success. But how do I know that? I go to Kai AI, and then as you see, when I scroll down, data.success flag, and it says 0 means generating, 1 means success, 2 is failed, and 3 is also failed. So once we have this, we can configure anything. And 1 I have said is success, then greater than or equal to 2, which is 2 or 3, that means it's failed, and if it's 0, it's generating. So what is going to happen is, if you come and look at this run 1, it says generating because the success flag was 0. Run 2, again generating, but once it came to run 3, it became successful because the flag changed to 1. And if I come back and see when it is a success or failure, it will just return the output. And for generating, it will again wait 20 seconds and then check the status until it's done. So this is the quick system of how you can generate videos using Kai AI. And it only costs 30 seconds for an 8-second video when you have the audio on, compared to $1.2 because they have some integrations or partnerships with Google, and that's why they are able to offer it at a lower cost right now. The next step is basically connecting this sub module with our main workflow. So I'm going to click on this plus button and search for workflow, and as you can see, execute sub workflow, and I can click on this action and I have this node. So first of all, let me choose the workflow. So I'm going to search for VO3 and I'm going to use the Kai AI 1, and then as you can see, it already tells us what inputs it needs. So for the prompt, as you can see on the left side, we have the video prompt here that we can put here. Then for the start scene ID, I can just drag and drop. And then for the aspect ratio also I will do this, and then I'll change the name. And one very last important piece, run once for each item, so that it makes sure that if you have 2 or 3 or even 5 videos to run at a go, you can run all of them separately. Now let me just come back and play this, and I'll be back once the video is created. Now that the video is created, let's just look at the result. And as you can see, it has all the information in terms of the data we gave it and the response. And this is the main URL. And let me just open this. And this video is loaded and I can just play.
Hey, I found the secret to my strength. It's this top raw.
And as you can see, the video is generated, and now we'll come back and then proceed with the next steps. So next step is basically storing this video. So I'm going to search on HTTP request again, and I'm going to do nothing, just use method as get, and then come to the left, drag this results URL here, and then I'm going to click on this and then click on get result. Now I'm going to play this so that this video is downloaded in our system, and as you can see we can view this file. Now you can see this here. Now quickly I will do some additional settings. So basically I will come here and I will say always output data. So why I'm doing this, because sometimes the model may not run properly or Google may flag some of the requirements you post because of its content policy. So if it's an error, I want this to come here, and then I want to say on error, I want to select this and say continue using error output. And if you come back here, you can see there are two branches now, success and error, and let's just configure each branch. Now I'm going to click this and then copy and paste this here. So basically I just want to upload my video to my Google Drive. For this node, I'm going to open it, change the name to upload video so that I am aware of what is happening, and I just need to change few inputs and everything else is already configured. Now as you see here, the data field name is start scene, but this says data. So I'm just going to copy this and paste it here. File name, we need to change it, and then for the folder, I want to change it into something else, which is my videos folder. And as you see, final video, I'll upload it there. And for file name, I don't want this file name, so what I'm going to do is go on schema, and you can again define it as you want. What I wanted to do is get the script idea. So as you see here, we have the script idea, and then underscore and add the ID of the start scene, so it is also acting as a unique identifier whenever I want to reference it in the later stage. Now I'm going to come here and click on this play button. Now since we changed this node, it ran again and now it has uploaded it, and as you can see we have all the details. Now just the last step, I'll click on the plus button, search for sheets, and we need to log the final output. So I'm going to say update row in sheet, and then I'm going to come here, select the document that I wanted and then sheet that I wanted, and as you can see it's asking me which are the columns to match on and what should be the values to update. So for the column, I'm going to click on this and search for start scene ID, and then the start scene ID I can get from here. So I'm going to come here, drag the start scene ID and paste it here, and then for the final video, what I will do is add this web view link that can be used to look at this, and then I don't need to update this also, I will just remove these, and then I need to update the status. So actually that got deleted, I'll add it again and I'll say video created so that I know it is done. And lastly, I'll change the name to log video, and then I'm going to do the exact same thing for the error node. So I'm going to click on this, copy it and paste it. I'm going to connect this, open it up and rename this to error, and then as you can see I'll keep this as same, and then in this final video I'll remove this, and then for the status I'm going to say video error, and there you have it. Your workflow is now finally created. You can just play this button and then tidy this up to see how it looks like. And whenever there is an error, it will go through this branch and success will go through this branch, and if I come back, you can see video is created, final video link is there which I can open. Now coming back here and talking about the improvement opportunities. So how to implement this in your system? First of all, you can create it as it is as you want, but if you want to integrate it in your system, you can change this Google Sheets with anything that you want. It could be an Airtable, it could be your internal databases, and you just need to connect it. And then all these things can be linked directly. So if I click on this form, I can go to this production URL, I can copy this, and once I activate this workflow, now I can search for this, and then I have this form that can be used, which can be used as a button by your team members. This is one way. And next, what you can do is instead of clicking this manually, you can have a button which calls this using a webhook or API call into your own systems. Then for the video prompts, you can actually create templates for different kinds of UGC ads or products as you want, and refine the prompt here that you know for this kind of ad I want this kind of prompt, and you can add that template question as an option in the form as well. And lastly, keep an eye on how much errors you are getting, what is the success rate, because that will help you scale it up, and also you can rate the outputs and then use that as inputs to refine your prompt and train your model. So the possibilities are endless, and if you actually want help implementing this yourself, just reach out to me. My email is in the description, and then we can have a discussion. Next, let's talk about the costing, because I mentioned less than half a dollar. So there are few costs to it. The start scene generation, so it takes about 3 cents to generate an image if you use Sky AI's platform, or if you use any of my other videos. I've linked it at the top. And let's say you take 2 attempts to generate the start frame or the reference image, you get 6 cents. For video generation, you can use Kai AI and it costs 30 cents per video. Prompt refinement, you can either use through ChatGPT or the way we did, and it will cost you less than 5 cents. If I just total it up, it's going to come at around 40 cents, which is less than half a dollar, and it takes less than 5 minutes to run this system. I'll quickly show you how you can actually do this manually, although I do not recommend it at all. But what you do is come to Kai AI and you search for VO3 API, and then once it loads, you click on VO3 Playground for free. And as you can see, we have VO3 Fast and VO3 Quality, and you need to choose which one do you want. VO3 Fast is cheaper and good for practice, and Quality is when you want to scale it for production, when you want to make ready videos for your clients or for yourself. Here you click on this button and search any image you want, let's say this image, and then you paste a prompt that you want. You let it decide the ratio, either auto 16:9 or 9:16, whichever you want. This is optional, and then you click on generate, and 60 credits is basically 30 cents. And if you come to VO3 Quality, it's the same process, it's just that it costs 4 times more. If you want this workflow template for yourself, go to my school community, link is in the description, and then go to YouTube resources, search for the video you want. Let's say I search the past video, and then as you can see, you have my notes here and the JSON file. You download this file, come back to n8n, click on these 3 buttons, and then click on import from file, and you will have this exact system along with the guide and the YouTube video embedded in this system, so that you can have a look at it while you create this for yourself. If you want to see more content like this, make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, and share it with a friend who's working on creating ads or an AI system. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a good day, and I'll see you in the next video.